To Canada now, where after 9 years as Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau's approval rating has plummeted from the 63% way back in his heyday when he was first elected to just 23% in June of this year. It's continued to tumble. So with an election breathing down his neck coming up just next year, he's decided to back off on the record immigration his government has seen pour into Canada. Here he is saying, look, we could have acted faster, but I'm making a move now, so vote for me next year, people.
In the last 2 years, our population has grown really fast, like baby boom fast. And increasingly, bad actors like fake colleges and big chain corporations have been exploiting our immigration system for their own interests. So we're doing something major. We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years.
So he's decided, better crack down on this, because all the polls in Canada are showing for the first time in a quarter century, the vast majority of Canadians are saying we've had enough with these record levels of immigration. And this guy just wants to get re-elected. Here is the head of the opposition, which I certainly hope will be the PM next year, Pierre Poilievre. He's taking Trudeau to task, saying, mate, you're the cause of the problem. Stop blaming these third-party actors. It's just bad people exploiting the system. Listen to what Pierre has to say and ask yourself, doesn't this sound like he's describing our government, the Labor government, the Albanese government, to a T?
So let's not turn our gaze away from the source of the problem, which is Justin Trudeau, who increased our population growth by 300% in a matter of a couple of years. By his admission, this isn't me, allowed massive fraud in international students, temporary foreign workers, and the refugee system. By his own admission, the Liberal immigration policies have caused massive housing, job, and healthcare shortages. And now he's basically denouncing his entire immigration policy and expecting us to believe that he can fix the problems that he caused.
Wow, massive housing, job and healthcare. Wow, it just reminded me so much of here back at home. But the amount of damage Pierre's going to be able to do at the polling booth next year on this issue, and we've seen this across the West. It was the case in the UK, but not so much. They just voted for change and they're not going to get it anytime soon. It was certainly successful in the US. Trump used that as a battering ram, and rightly so. I think Pierre, this is going to be another bastion of his campaign against Trudeau, because it goes without saying, all the polls are already showing this is what the people want, and which Canadians are going to be dumb enough to believe that the guy who created the problem is going to be the guy to fix it.
Do you think we can put this down to the Trump effect a little bit?
Perhaps. I mean, Pierre has already been called very much a Trumpian figure. Yes. He's very famous for chewing on apples by talking to reporters, questioning them on their questions, getting them to trip all over themselves. So he's very much already seen as a very Trumpian figure. But again, I think this is, and we've talked about across the EU as well, this is played out beautifully in the Netherlands, in Hungary, in Poland, all the parties that say we are running on an anti-immigration policy because we've been flooded and we're absolutely sick of it, those are the guys getting voted in. I
just love the gaslighting by Justin Trudeau. I mean, the way he sort of sits down in the chair. He's the guy who's just set fire to every house in the street. And then he calls everyone together for a chat about fire safety. It's just incredible the front that he has. And, of course, if you criticised his immigration policy, you were denounced as a racist. And this is another thing that has a commonality right across the Western world. Do you remember it wasn't that long ago that our own Laura Tingle accused Peter Dutton of stirring up racism by daring to suggest that high immigration was putting pressure on housing? And Laura Tingle imagined that people are going to go down to, bid on a home or apply for a rental, and they're going to see someone of a different skin colour and automatically blame them for the fact that you can't get a dwelling in Sydney or wherever. And so we've been denounced as racists for pointing out what Justin Trudeau is now saying oh, actually, we do have an issue, but don't worry, having caused the problem, now you can trust me to fix it.
Which would be to say that the majority of Canadians are racist. Now, I'm sure Trudeau may well believe that, and certainly some people on the left would believe that, but all the polling does now show that the majority of Canadians believe that immigration is too high. I'm generally willing to give politicians credit when they admit they get things wrong. But on this count, I have to say...
It's totally self-serving.
It was, it's the most obvious economic principle, supply and demand. What do you think is going to happen when you increase demand significantly when you don't have the supply to keep up with it? You end up with housing crises. You end up with cost of living crises. On and on it goes. You end up with a lower standard of living. Justin Trudeau, even the person with the lowest IQ on the planet, could work out the most basic stuff.
Well, that's Justin Trudeau.
I'll give him a little more credit than that because he is a communist. You do need a couple of brain cells to understand communism to begin with. But he should have been able to see this coming. Any Western leader should have been able to see this coming. Anthony Albanese should have been able to see this coming. The reason that Trudeau, like Albanese, jacked up immigration so much was to fudge the economic numbers because they know that if they didn't have such massive population growth in the last few years, they likely would have gone into recession. We've been in effective recession for a long time, but the numbers don't show we're in recession because we keep propping it up with the population figures, right? And then he goes to an election, oh, no, it's not popular, I better walk it all back. Good luck to you.
I agree with everything you just said, except, you give him a bit of grace because maybe he's a politician who genuinely is admitting, what, we got it wrong. But that was a 7-minute video, right?
Genuinely admitting he got it wrong.
Well, I'm just saying it's a 7-minute video, and within 10 seconds he's saying unscrupulous colleges, businesses taking advantage. I don't think he was really admitting much fault.
It's rather funny, though, because for the longest time he's called everyone who opposed this mass immigration to Canada racist. So you got to ask yourself, does this make you a racist now? You're amongst the people that you have opposed for so long.